Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today for our live video. And what I'm going to be doing is answering some of your questions. So there's been a lot of people reaching out to me, asking me different questions from how to retain your current client and patient base, how to do advertising or should I be doing advertising, what are common mistakes. I've been speaking a lot about doing workshops and being able to both retain your current base of clients and actually being able to generate new clients and actually getting them into your world that way. So we'll talk a little bit about some of these different highlights here and give you some value and so on. So thanks for everyone joining me. So the first question that I'm going to be going through is what are the big mistakes that people are making? So question was from James in New York, and he says, um, basically seeing a lot of ads that are coming out from Facebook to Google and Instagram, and wondering like how can you position yourself differently than the other people who are doing those ads. And I would say, advertising is definitely good time to do it right now. We're still experimenting with ads, and we've kind of changed just the offer and the message and that type of stuff. But ultimately, you've got to realize when you're advertising, there still are people who are looking for help, and you may be able to transition your service and be able to offer different things in order to help accommodate those people. So if you're a massage therapist or a chiropractor or physio, you could still do things for these patients and prospects to help them get out of low back pain. So I'll explain a little bit about a workshop, and funnel that we created in order to help build a bit of an audience and provide more value to our current base. So one really big mistake that I'm seeing with these ads is they're marketing telehealth or online-based virtual workouts or whatever it is. And the big problem that I see with that is people are not really looking for telehealth or workouts online. They're looking for a specific outcome. So from a marketing standpoint, what you want to be doing is the same things you were doing before. You're just slightly changing your messaging and the offers to match the current times of what these prospects or people are looking to achieve. So most of the time when you're marketing something like telehealth, most people have no idea what that even is. It's really just a tool to be able to deliver your service. So if you're marketing, hey, we're our virtual telehealth service or whatever it might be, you're going to be generally just confusing people because they don't really know exactly what you're offering. But if I'm saying, listen, one thing that we took is bulletproof your low back at home during quarantine. So normally we would run a workshop saying bulletproof your low back. We just added bulletproof your low back to survive quarantine. And what we're able to do is just make it a little bit more specific for those who are sitting at home, not able to move around, and they're experiencing some back pain. So if you are looking at advertising or you're sending your email or Facebook ads or whatever it is, make sure that the message and the offer is specific to the outcomes. The same strategy that you should be applying before with your marketing, do it now. Stay away from things like virtually or online telehealth, because realistically, I guarantee if you poll people, they don't even really know what that is. But they know that they've got low back pain or shoulder pain or neck pain, and they need to get some help because they can't go out and do their normal routine. So is there something that you can offer them? And like I said, we've experimented a bit with doing info-based products as well as with like a virtual-based delivery that's been working out pretty well for the most part. So that's a really big mistake there that I see. So make sure you don't do that. Next question. Main tips for being able to retain patients when going back. So this question is when we're able to get back. So there's some up in the air information about when we may or may not be able to get back. We really don't know. Again, all we can do is control what we do know right now. Eventually we'll get back. We don't know when, but it's going to be a really, really important thing to consider of how am I going to get my past clients and patients back in to see me once things kickstart. And my opinion on this, I spoke a little bit about it in Jerry Durham's Wiser and Stronger group last week, is I think how you really start getting people to back is not all these crazy funnels or strategies and calling them and all this type of stuff, at the last minute, as soon as you get to open your doors, but it's starting now if you haven't already. Start communicating with your client base and patient base and tell them like, listen, I don't know when we're able to get back. It looks like our tentative date is X. And, I'm really, really excited to help you, get back to A, B, and C, whatever their goals or outcomes are specifically. But you want to be starting that process now. If you haven't been communicating with anyone on a deeper level of like, listen, this is what's going on with the business. This is what we're doing in order to keep you active, and giving them options and providing that value in relationship is going to be extremely challenging for you to get these people back. And you're also they don't really have necessarily as much urgency to get back with you right away. It might be financial time. They're worried about the situation, if it's going to spread, or who knows what could happen. So the best way to be able to retain people, both now and for when you're able to get people back in, is going to be having really good, solid communications. So we spoke a little bit about different services you could use to leave voicemails. So you could pre-record messages, leave voicemails, send text messages, and so on. All those things are really good. I like really picking up the phone and calling these people individually and saying, hey, just checking in to see how you are. Let me know how we can best serve you. And us doing that allowed us to be able to determine what type of things the patients and prospects are really looking to get help with. And in a post, I talked a little bit about people just from gauging what they're looking for. People wanted some accountability. They want some basic movement, some mobility. They're not as hardcore trying to lose a bunch of weight and, train to be Olympian when they're at home. They're just kind of surviving and making sure they feel okay. So, we put together a program that allows that to be facilitated virtually through delivery of service, but ultimately you're able to make income from that as well. So reach out to people if you haven't already, ask them how we can be of service, and just make sure that they know that you have their best interest in mind. You want to be able to help them. That's going to go a long way in getting these people to come back, coupled with strategies to reactivate these people and so on as well. All right, so okay, so this question is how to shift online. So I won't tell you guys that I'm a massive expert at this at all, but my overall thought process, I'm very, for those of you who know me pretty well, I'm a very logical thinker and very structural based. So, all that's really different is your delivery of your service is changing from going to be in person to going online. Can I do manipulations and adjustments or whatever as in person? Well, I can't right now. Is it going to be as good? Maybe not. But can I walk someone through on how to do a mobility circuit to help them with their low back or neck pain? Of course, 100%. And a lot of the time, you don't even need to have tons of equipment to be able to facilitate that. You're focusing on the outcomes that the person wants. So when you're looking at going online, all you're really doing is just changing the delivery. So you can easily talk to your patients or clients and say, listen, you're coming to me for neck pain right now. I can't obviously treat you because of the given circumstance as much as I would love to be able to, I can't. But what I can do is I can work with you on doing stretches, on doing remedial based exercises, and help guide you through this process so that you're able to maintain. And of course you're able to charge for those services because you're providing a service. It doesn't matter that it's virtually or whatever. So going online is really just as simple as you making a decision and saying, listen, I'm going to be doing some delivery online. And I've seen all sorts of different health practitioners, from psychotherapists, which is obviously a little bit easier, physio, chiro, massage, all do things online. The other thing I think is a good point to add to that is if you guys have any other types of modalities or certifications or adjunct-based things that you can do, those are all things that you might be able to do to leverage. So we had a massage therapist, and what she does is she couples nutrition and massage and kind of blends the whole healthy, holistic lifestyle. So what she was doing from a nutrition standpoint is never really she would have nutrition clients in person and she'd have massage. Well, she can't do as much massage, but what she can do is some stretching, mobility, REMX, like we just discussed. And she also is able to do a lot of nutrition. People right now are very curious on like, well, how do I eat? What do I eat? I'm not sure if I should order out and so on. So she actually turned herself a bit into I look at it like a TV show, almost a celebrity figure. And from that, she is able to actually start getting new people through her audience. She's growing her audience and she's growing her lead list and prospects who are coming to her just for the food components, to show you how to cook properly and meal prep and all these other types of things. I'm not a I'm pretty basic for myself, so I eat stuff that's pretty simplified for me, kind of functional, I guess, rather than these crazy dinners. But a lot of people like that stuff, and her clients, a lot of them were maybe not the healthiest, but they really really like that service. So now she's doing a coaching program online on helping people move and eat better. So she's able to actually grow her business and still make income as a massage therapist from doing those both things. And I've had other massage therapists who are doing who have specialized. So one guy's a power lifter, and what he does is he actually would train some people earlier on in his career. So he's getting back to doing some exercises, holding people accountable that way, including the stretching and mobility routines. Again, it's engaging with your clients and patients. You're staying top of mind, you're giving them value, and it's going to be way easier to get these people back, and it's easier for you to make income. So definitely get on that if you guys haven't done it already. There's no excuse. It's really really simple. And if you guys need help or you have any questions about how to do something specifically, just send me a note and I'll help you get started. But for the most part, online based stuff that's not really needing privacy or anything, I can just use something as simple as Zoom for like mobility classes. For one-on-one, we use Doxy just because it's encrypted or something that's like that. I don't know the technical details, but apparently it's supposed to be better. And it's a platform for patients and medical providers. Okay. And workshop. So yeah, the question was like, how exactly did we launch the workshop? So I'm going to share my screen. I got my tablet here. Just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen here with you guys, and I'm just going to draw out so you guys have an image, and then I will drop the PDF in the chat after this call. So just give me a sec. All right, guys. So the workshop essentially, there's a couple components to it. And one is you want to decide what type of workshop you're going to be delivering. And typically we have workshops that I would do that are specific for an issue. So we talk a lot about bulletproof your low back for runners or bulletproof your low back for golfers. We generally do a similar seminar, but a slightly different target market, depending on the time of year and so on. Because obviously I'm probably not going to target runners in the winter as successful as I'm going to be able to target skiers, for example. And realistically, a lot of them are kind of synonymous. They're running and skiing. It's just their winter and summer sport in Toronto. So first you got to understand what it is people want. So the first thing that we did by first essentially reaching out to people and asking is saying, okay, well, what exactly is it that you guys need right now from us? And that's as simple as picking up the phone and asking, what do you guys need as support? And a lot of the information back is we need some daily accountability. We need an easy stretching, mobility-based routine and something I can put together so I can feel good in the morning or in the afternoon, and I can just keep moving and keep active. Because if I sit, I feel like I'm turning to rust, essentially. So when we know that, so first step, ask people really what they want or how you can best help them, and they'll tell you. You can ask. You could do if you've got a bunch of people in an email list or your Facebook or group or whatever, just make a post and say, hey guys, I'm thinking of doing a live workshop on keeping you healthy and mobile and pain-free during this quarantine. What do you guys want to learn? Something simple as that. Once you know what it is that you're going to offer, then you can actually put together something a little more structured. So for example, once we decide, the first thing we really want to do is we want to decide exactly what the workshop is. Now we know what the workshop is going to be. So for us, bulletproof your low back to survive quarantine. So bulletproof your low back to survive quarantine pain-free. Sorry. So now that I know what it is, I've got an actual title of my workshop. Sorry, I'm typing on this small little keyboard. It's a little different than my usual one. So I titled the workshop. I generally want to take 3 items to discuss and then give the person, we need to get people to sign up. So we have some sort of CTA or call to action. I generally like to get people pre-registered so that one, I know who's going to be coming, and two, I'm able to give people more value and remarket to these people later on. So if someone signs up for my back pain during quarantine, I may be able to give them, for example, we've got a, this is what we were running for Facebook ad campaign, is a lead magnet. So basically a report of 5 things that you can do, and from a stretching standpoint and some isometrics and some other movements in order to help keep active and reduce low back pain, be pain free during this quarantine. And we have those 5 steps. We also have videos that go out to them in emails. So even if they don't read the report, they're going to get the email and so on. So that's why it's really, really important to be able to collect the people's information in this kind of world. And then you're actually able to help them. A lot of people, sometimes this objection comes up where people say, well, I don't want to feel salesy, and I don't want to, sales funnels are gross, and, all sorts of, lame excuses. The reality is you're actually doing people a disservice. You're not able to stay in contact with them, help them as much. And, being salesy as much as saying, like, listen, you're coming to a workshop, we're going to help you get through these steps of being pain-free or overcoming low back pain during this quarantine. They're looking for help. So let's stay in contact with them and get them what they want. If they're not interested, then that's fine. We just remove them from the list and move on. So once we've got this workshop here, we structure it up. What's the title of the workshop? So for us, the low back pain, 3 items to discuss. So we talk about 3 items that we're going to be working on in this overall workshop. So the first is we want to determine why people have back pain in the first place. So a lot of the time now it's because they're sitting all day, not really doing anything. They're skipping their workouts, they're not doing daily stretching, they're not getting any steps in, and so on. So these are just common things about why. There could be a million reasons. They're eating worse and so on. But we just keep it pretty simple for what most people are probably experiencing. So we put together 3 items that we're going to be discussing, and that's something as simple as, like, here's one exercise, one stretch, and one habit that you need to do during this quarantine in order to be back pain free. And you can decide what those things are going to be most effective. CTA, just getting someone to sign up. Then you decide on the date. Because everyone's staying home doing nothing, you could probably do them pretty fast. Usually for a workshop, I like at least 2 to 3 weeks to pre-sell and get people into it and aware of it. But more than likely, you'd probably be able to get people in right away. We only did this with a week and just testing it out. So from that point, essentially, you now have decided that you've got a workshop. So how you do the workshop is, it's supposed to be more of a circle, but to look like a clock, but it is what it is. So if I'm doing the workshop for someone, let's say I'm doing it for 60 minutes. You take the first 5 minutes to just introduce yourself and address the problem, and kind of pre-frame all the stuff that we went over here on what we're going to be working with. So over here. And so you do a brief introduction just on who you are. So, for me, I would say, hey, I'm Brad. I have Link Performance Therapy, and we help active adults over 40 get over pain so they can enjoy their lives and so on. So you do your presentation like that. Okay, so today, guys, we're going to go through 3 things that you need to be able to do every day in order to overcome low back pain and survive quarantine. What they are there. Then I spend generally about, assuming this was even, so each one of these was even, somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes on, we've done pretty good, don't let it go to waste. So these are the problems and the things you're going to go through. So you spend 10, 15 minutes going through each one. So this might be your stretch. This might be your exercise. This might be your habit or something that you want them to do. So I generally like to split these into 3. So what that is the what, the why, and the how. So what that allows you to do is keep everything that you're doing concise so you're not rambling on and so on. At the end of each one, someone can ask questions, or how are you guys doing? It's just sort of your check-in. So when I'm saying the how, the what, the why, the how, I'm explaining, okay, well, what are we going to do? We're going to be doing a stretch for your hip flexors, because if you're sitting all day, the hip flexor is going to get tight. And these muscles that are tight on the front, they're going to pull your low back and you can feel really bad. So we're going to stretch this front component, get some mobility in there, and so on. That's what we're doing and why we're doing it, and then the how is you executing. Okay, so this is the instruction on how to do this movement. When you are giving these types of workshops, keep it to a 5th grade level, and realize that people don't know what psoas major and minor is, and they don't know what anterior translocation of the lumbar vertebrae is. Like, they don't understand that. So just keep it very simple and say, listen, if you stretch this front of the muscle in the front of the hip, one of them attaches to your spine. And if you get more mobility in there, you're going to feel a lot better. That's what people are going to resonate with a lot more, unless you're dealing with doctors and they're your only clients or something like that. And even then, they probably have no idea, depending on what type of doctor it is. So I do that, and I do my 3 here, check in. And the check-in could just be something as like, hey, how's everyone feeling? Any questions, concerns, whatever. And again, you don't want to be taking a half an hour here. You want to be doing maybe 2-3 minutes in between, just a segue. To make sure everyone's still on point. Once we get to the end here, this is going to be more of your summary. So the end component is going to be your summary. If you're pre-selling, if you're looking at selling this as a service, this is where you're going to be doing your closing or your call to action in the actual workout as well, generally like the last 10 minutes. So any questions, how you guys feeling, so on. And if people are signing up, they're going to be saying like, listen guys, so if you want to keep doing this, I'm going to be doing them X period of time, day, whatever it is, basically the structure of what your offer is, and then tell them what to do. So maybe you are going to take their credit card over the phone, you're going to call them, or for me, what we did is we just set up a web page and just drop the web page into the chat of Zoom, and people can literally just go right there. And then, we have a bit of follow-up afterwards. I'm not going to get into it too much here, but, there's things you can do afterwards. But essentially, this is how a workshop could be. And it doesn't need to be an overwhelming, crazy thing. Just get up and do it. And the reality is being, if you're a massage therapist or chiro or whatever, and you're used to working one-on-one, you now have kind of borderless or limitless ability to reach people. So you can start doing these types of things, and you're going to start building an audience at the very least. And you're going to also, you're also able to record it, and you're able to create some content, and over time you'll get better at doing this type of stuff and so on. But this is a simple thing that you can do right away in order to start generating some more revenue, as well as giving value to your patients and clients. So hopefully this helps you guys understand a little bit about what you can be doing right now. We talked a little bit about tips for being able to retain people. So I'm going to unshare here. So hair is just getting long. I'm going to have to, when you see me next, guys, I'm going to be like Mr. Clean. So we talked a little bit about retaining people, and what retaining is really just, you got to communicate a lot with people now. We talked about how to transition online. One, just make a decision and know that you're going to be doing delivery of your service online. If it's private-based stuff, you can use something like Doxby, or if you're going to do stuff that doesn't need to be as private, just do it on Zoom. And then we talked a little bit about mistakes. So if you are advertising, you have questions, send me a note. I'll share with you guys the exact funnel and the template and copy, and you can just swipe it from us. So if you want that, just send me a note. And then you've also got the structure of how to do a workshop. So the steps to getting there: one, decide what the workshop's going to be by asking people. Once you've asked them and they tell you what they want to know or how you can best help them, then create something that can help them get to that goal. Then decide on the time you're going to be able to do it, and then just execute. And I gave you a bit of the structure about how to set it up, so that way it's structured and not you're just doing an hour and you feel like, okay, well, I'm running out of time and I don't know if this is working and that type of stuff. If you follow that structure, everyone will stay on point. They'll have a good time, and then you're not going to have these sideline conversations where people, there's always usually one in the group who's going to ask like 25 different questions. In those scenarios, I just say, it sounds like you got a lot of information. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to save these questions at the end, and then we can have a little chat afterwards, just so we're staying on point. and everyone's probably going to be accepting of that. So thanks for joining me today, guys. If you have more questions for next week, as I'm sure that everyone will, be sure to submit them ahead of time. If you can submit them by Thursday around 12 o'clock, it gives me some time to review them and come up with a little bit of what the best strategy is for that. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks.